Alright, so I want to talk about Super Bullet Break. This is an interesting game to talk about because at the surface level, what do you see from the screenshots and from some of the videos you're seeing here? It's just waifu, weird first-person combat, lots of icons everywhere. But after a couple of hours of playing, lots of losses, and a couple of wins, I have some interesting things to say about this game that might surprise you. So if you guys enjoy these types of videos, please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. If I don't answer something that you are interested in knowing, please comment below and I'll make sure to answer it ASAP. But anyway, this game releases on August 12th, 2022. It was developed by Bixide Inc. and published by P-Cube. This game is a deck builder themed all around different anime and different game genres, all the way from dating sims to first-person maze attacks, you know, all that sort of stuff. The game is single player with Steam achievements. You can do keyboard and mouse. I recommend using a controller. I played throughout the all the way. It has Steam trading cards and Steam Cloud. The game is also $20, $19.99 US. Now, is it worth that money? Is it worth your time and money? I'll be sure to answer that at the very end here. But let's go ahead and talk about the story of the game, how it plays, and some of the good and bad stuff. So the story of the game is kind of in the background. It starts you off with a lot of dialogue, text messages with you. You are a girl in your room playing something on the internet with your handheld gaming device, and all of a sudden you cannot use some of these different apps that you have. All the apps are the various different genres, as I mentioned. And you talk to a friend and you realize, hey, something is going on. All of your games are infected by some sort of bugs / viruses, and only one is available. So you go into there and then you start finding out, hey, this character is not from this sort of game. What's going on? So you have to go through each and every single stage, defeating every single boss, and, you know, setting things right. So right off the bat, I guess the easiest game to, that is very similar to this, that is the most popular of the deck building genre, is going to be Slay the Spire. 100% is very like that. But this game has its own little sort of twists and sort of differences that I kind of like. So instead of a deck in the game, this is called a magazine. Instead of cards, you have different bullets. Instead of modifiers, you have cartridges. And that's pretty much the basics of the game. But it does a lot of different things. So in each stage, it's going to have a couple of different arcs where chapters. So you go through one and you get to choose different paths to go, and then after like 10 or so different events, you're going to be fighting a boss. You go to Act 2, a bunch of different events, you fight a boss, same thing with the third one. So after you beat the first chapter, you go on to Chapter 2, Chapter 3, and Chapter 4. So let's quickly go over how a typical run would go. Depending on how far in the game you are, you get to choose from different chapters. Each chapter starts you off with a different sort of deck archetype. Right now, there's around 160 different types of cards in the game, over 100 modifiers, lots of consumables. This game has a lot of variety. Okay, so let me give you an example of some of the archetypes. So some of them are like a lot of attacking, some's good defending, some likes to combo with each other. For example, if you have a lot of the same type of a certain card, it'll buff the others. Draw, discard, poison, enfeeble, buff, debuff. It's a huge gambit of a lot of different types of archetypes. You're not limited, however. You do start each of the run with the certain like 15 or so of the specific chapter cards, but you can delete them as you go on through the chapter. You can add a lot more. You can change the modifiers, and that's what I like about this. It plays like a gacha, but it's a single buy, but there's a lot of RNG in here. And at the beginning, the first couple of times you play the game, I'm not gonna lie, you might feel frustrated, like, okay, how is this strategic at all? I start with this deck, but then every single fight might seem unfair. A lot of the bosses might seem unfair. I don't know what cards work together. This is one of those games where it highly incentivizes you for multiple playthroughs, and it's a good thing it does, because it's a fun system to go through over and over again. Because the more you learn about the game, the more things just start to sync up, and you start to figure out, okay, I'm gonna try to add these cards in. I want to hold these in my hand, etc. So you start, and there's different sorts of events to do. So first of all, there's a battle. Let's talk about battles in the game. So instead of the usual mana system, you have a sort of a time system. Every single card, their mana is essentially how much cost it is before an enemy gets to go. So you go into a battle and you can see the enemy's intentions. Let's say they're gonna hit you for 15 in 20 delay. What does that even mean? In your hand, you can have up to 7 cards in your hand, and every single time you take an action, you draw a new card. Some cards will do, or I guess in this game, what are they called? Bullets. Each bullet's like, oh, okay, 3 mana, 10 mana, 5 mana, etc. You keep activating those cards until the enemy goes. So it works more like a JRPG system rather than a Hearthstone, a Magic, a Slay the Spire type of, you have 3 mana, try to use all the cards, you end your turn, you discard, you draw. It's not like that. You keep all the cards that you do not discard, that you didn't use. So there's a ton of strategy here. Which cards you want to use first, because some of them combo after. Maybe you have a burst modification where if you use this card at the very end before an enemy attacks, every card you use beforehand will buff it. Or maybe some cards will activate, more if you have less HP, so maybe you want to hold it until you get hit more. So there's quite a lot here. So that's the battle system. And there's a lot of modifiers, buffs and debuffs. You can poison enemies, you can paralyze them so it skips their turn, you can attack them so their delay turn comes up a lot later. This really does feel like, I don't know what it is, but I like this system a lot. It's a dungeon, it's like semi-dungeon crawling, you're just choosing events, but pretty much it is the deck building that I love from Slay the Spire. It has the crazy gacha randomness that I do like, and it also has a pretty fun JRPG battle system that has to deal with turn-based strategy rather than mana, their turn, mana, their turn, mana, their turn. It's something weird, and I like it. Okay, so those are battles. Next up are treasures, I guess. And these are just basic. You choose 1 through 3 treasures. You get money, you get a new card, or you get a consumable. Consumables can do like, okay, attack an enemy for 10. If you hold this item, maybe a certain archetype will be buffed up, etc. So those are the consumables. Next is events. Now, I think this is probably the weakest thing in the game. I feel like there should be way more events than there are. I'm seeing the same events over and over again. But basically, it's a random dialogue with somebody, and then you get to choose. For example, maybe a quiz master will show up, and you get to do 1 through 3 choices, and if you get it right, you get a reward. Maybe someone will be like, hey, this is a special fight, do you want to fight me? If you do, you get a reward, maybe you unlock a new card in the future, etc. But I've seen the same ones over and over and over again. Maybe when you get to super late game chapters, you see a lot more variety, but at the moment I think events are the weakest ones, but it seems you always get a benefit for the most part. Maybe like a couple times you get nothing out of it. Next up are sort of the bonfires here. You can either heal yourself 30% of your HP for free, you can spend a certain amount of money to heal 50%, or you can change the cartridge on the bullets. Now this is fun here because every card in the game is the same, right? So let's say you have a card that does, I'm just gonna make up a random one. You have a card that costs 4 mana and it does 10 damage. Let's just say that's the baseline. If you find another one in the game, there is 153 or 100 plus whatever different modifiers it can have. So you can have a bunch of the same cards, but they can all do different things. Common, uncommon to legendary, different sorts of effects. Now these are active effects and these are passives. The passives means once you put it into your magazine, it's just there forever. So you can get like max HP. Maybe it gives you archetypes, so some cards are stronger if you have it in your deck. And then they have the active one. So if you use it, not only do you just spend 4 mana to attack for 10, but maybe boom, you heal for 2. So there's a lot here, and that thing where you can switch them out is just exactly like that. So if you see a modifier that just doesn't fit in your deck, or it's just too weak, you want to buff it up, you can switch it out for a legendary. And these ones are crazy. Those ones, I'll leave it to those ones. But yeah, that's the healing section. And then you get the shops. Now this is where the whole gacha thing goes insane. In the shop, you get money from defeating enemies, from doing some events. Each shop is a little different, a little random, but primarily it's consumables. And then you have, you can also pay to remove a bullet from your deck. So you're pretty much just striking it out so you can draw the ones you actually do want. Then you could purchase something called I forgot what these tickets are specifically called, but let's just say they're gacha tickets. So you purchase them in the game, and then every time you go to one of these shops, you can spend those tickets to pull a new waifu or mascot. Now this is really fun, but hella random. So you click on it, and then it gives you 6 different choices. 2 choices, but 3 on each one. So for example, it might be princess, a novice, first year student, kangaroo, you know, random stuff. So you pick 2, and then out of nowhere it just, you know, throws out one of the different types of bullets that has one of those or both of those keywords associated to it. So a lot of it's RNG, but once you start learning, like, okay, in my deck I have a lot of modifiers that increase the power of mascot cards. So I want to grab the kangaroos, I want to grab the teddy bears. So you want to grab those modifiers and you want to gacha and draw those, and you can get different versions of them. Like I mentioned, they're all the same, but then you get the different cartridge slots, the different magazines. So it's fun. It's really like, there's something good about it. A lot of it's voice acted as well. Not necessarily the story points, but whenever you get somebody new or you talk during battle, you hear a little Japanese quip. It's, you know, the graphics are nice and fun. I don't know what they did here, but this is like a really solid game. I like it a lot. So there's no meta progression, if you were wondering. It's basically you go as far as you can with your starting deck, and then you also have different characters you unlock later, but with different sorts of advantages and disadvantages. But besides that, there's no meta stuff. You go as far as you can, you do certain events, you kill certain things, and you unlock perma cards. Those cards can be found in future runs, but you are always the same level. You know, you're never going to be stronger beforehand. You just have more options as you go on. So that makes it really fun. So Super Bullet Break, it's one of those games where it's frustrating at first. I'm not going to lie. It's very frustrating. The UI might look a mess, but the music is charming. The character animations, yeah, you got like the waifus, you got the booba, you got the loot stuff. But if you can get past all of that, or if you don't mind it, if you like the sort of stuff, good, they did a lot of good designing here. But you know, if you could look past that, you're not so much an anime enthusiast in terms of the graphical design, you are missing out on a pretty good deck, roguelike deck builder here, because I love the combat system. A lot of encounters might seem very, very unbalanced. I will say that though. Like you might find 1 or 2 cards in this game that's going to completely be your win condition and break things. But if you don't find those and you end up with a really difficult battle, you're just gonna get screwed over. So you have to really know which cards you need. Like, oh, I'm always gonna need shields. I'm always going to have to kill them before they kill me. This enemy's gonna do that. So it's a lot of just information dumb learning. But once you get all that, you start to get into a groove where you're winning a lot of the times and you're unlocking things. It's just one of those games. It's not bad. I think for $20, you're going to get a lot of replayability here, because you're going to play a lot of the same chapters to unlock more stuff. And then you're going to be playing the other different characters in conjunction with a lot of different types of archetypes, because you are not locked in. You start with one, but then you can switch them out as much as you want. You're not stuck with, oh, red cards or blue cards. They help each other out for sure. But you can always mix and match, and that's what's fun about this. Lots of cards, lots of modifiers, lots of combinations, lots of gacha, lots of waifu booba if you're into that. Super Bullet Break. It's a good game. So if you guys enjoyed, leave a like. It helps a lot. If you haven't already subbed for daily videos, if you have any questions, you want to chime in, if you like the game, if you didn't like the game, if you have any questions, I'll answer it. If you guys are interested, all the footage is going to be on my Let's Play channel. I'm going to do some daily episodes of this. I really want to get far. This is a fun game. So I will have the first couple of episodes up there. You can watch it. I'll be going through there along with a lot of the other games I'm currently playing. Join the Discord and Twitch channel. All links are down below. Would love to see you guys when I go live. Really surprising game. I like it a lot. Thanks, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.